Angat and Senator Dr. Mutembei over standoff on related to the passage of second generation formula. That was quite a difficult time for us as a house, but I appreciate what we did together, all of us, those that were in support of the formula as proposed, those that were against, we all stood firm and said the state had taken their game too far. And until we were given a credible explanation of where our colleagues were, they were unconditionally released, that's when debate resumed, Mr. Speaker. Of course, Council of Governors and Senate standoff over oversight funds, especially conditional grants, and the High Court judgment limiting oversight mandate of the Senate. That was quite a low, Mr. Speaker. I must speak of it. And on that afternoon, when we retreated back to reflect on the judgment of the High Court, where the judge, in his finding, tried to limit the role of the Senate in oversighting funds to the specific counties, which funds we could go through, that was a difficult moment. Because on one hand, Mr. Speaker, you have the public charging at you and demanding of you that you're the senator for Siaya, senator for Nyamira, senator for Nyandarua. What are you doing as Governor XYZ is misappropriating public funds? The courts on the other side are telling us that you cannot do that on certain specific things that ordinary citizens don't understand. All they want is to see public money spent prudently. That was quite a low time for us. Of course, delay in constituting of committees and changes in leadership position for majority and minority side. We've had this fight, this particular session on the minority side. For a greater part of last term, we had this particular challenge on the majority side, Mr. Speaker. Not a very easy time when people have got to let go of leadership position, Mr. Speaker. Hasn't been an extremely easy time. And perhaps over time, this is a question that Senate need to resolve, because much as it is difficult here in the Senate, more difficult in the county assemblies. And they draw from the experience in the Senate. I know for a fact that there are county assemblies, Mr. Speaker, that up to now, session, just trying to resolve who is a majority leader. And therefore, it's a challenge to us as a house, because we are the protectors and the custodians of devolution. Thinking about this, Mr. Speaker, perhaps either by legislation or provide a clear guidance on how to achieve on the positions of leadership here in the Senate as well as in our county assembly. Of course, failure by governors in the 11th Parliament to honor summons, quite a number, many have been fined. Unfortunately, in the Powers and Privilege Act, we haven't provided for how to, we don't have the mechanism. You know, Parliament and Senate doesn't have, we cannot send our sergeant at arms to go and arrest governors who have refused to show up or have jumped bail, haven't paid their fines. We need to think through and consider that. Of course, removal of senators from office was quite a difficult time for us as well. You remember the case of Senator Mwaura, Senator Professor Kindiki, Wetangula, and Senator Kangata. That was quite a difficult time for us. Of course, delays of processing of Senate bills during the 11th and 12th Parliament. We haven't faced this challenge yet. I have to be optimistically cautious, Mr. Speaker, so that I don't get ahead of myself, because I know how, I've been around fairly long enough to know that when it's all rosy when you're beginning terms of Parliament, but as you get deep and deep into the term, and there are disagreements between both houses, then the urge to withdraw or to ignore the Senate, rather, Mr. Speaker, clicks in. And on those occasions, you find that Senate ends up suffering. Mr. Speaker, finally, just as way of concluding, and this I have picked randomly, I am just reflecting on colleague senators that we've had the privilege of serving with over the last 10 years, and moments and things that they did that will remain forever etched in the memory or the history of Senate, Mr. Speaker, for those acts have defined us, who we are today and what we shall be in the future. Number one, Mr. Speaker, Senate Speaker Ekwe Ethuro. I know for a fact, and I speak like this, Mr. Speaker,